The domino oil effect. What is it? And how is it important? How can understanding the domino oil effect benefit you as you adapt to emerging and developing realities? The domino oil effect, essentially, in its simplest form, is summarized in the following 5 questions. When oil prices rise, what happens to gasoline prices predictably? Gasoline's just refined from oil, so when oil prices rise, what happens to gasoline prices? When gasoline prices rise, what happens to the spending or expenses of businesses and households that rely on or depend on gasoline to function and operate? When the spending or expenses of businesses and households that depend on gasoline is rising, and by the way, there are a lot of households and organizations, even governments, that rely on gasoline. When all these businesses and households that rely on gasoline are experiencing increasing spending on rising gasoline prices, what happens to their surplus cash, the cash they have left over after spending however much they spend on gasoline? They have less surplus cash. So when all of these households and organizations have less surplus cash, what happens to the amount of money they invest, and the amount of money they lend, such as lending for real estate financing, or investing in stock markets, or investing in gold, or farming? When their expenses rise from increasing gas prices, from increasing oil prices, those rising expenses mean there's less surplus cash. And less surplus cash means there's less money available to invest or to lend. So there's going to be decreases ongoingly in investing and lending as gas prices continue to rise, if indeed they do. Finally, if there's less investing, less money to invest and less investing, and less money to lend, so less lending and less borrowing, then what happens to the prices of things like stock markets and real estate? If there's less money being put into those investments, the prices of those investments do what? There's less buying and less borrowing to get that stuff. Those things go on sale, right? The prices drop. So many people are interested in not only the prices of their own investments, like stocks and real estate, but also the implications for nations, for tax revenues, for industries, for communities, for societies. The implications are predictable. And the background to all of this is what is happening with oil prices and what is likely to happen with oil prices in the long run and in the short run. So the domino oil effect really points back to the importance of oil. In the remainder of the content that I've presented here for you, there will be a little bit more about what's going on with oil, what's been going on, and what's developing and emerging now as it relates to oil, and the implications that that will have for you personally, for your finances, for your future, the future of your family, your community, governments in your midst, businesses in your midst, and so on. Thank you for your interest.